on the character that you've seen in the cosplay realm? It doesn't have to be here.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Oh my gosh. I did see someone one time do like I see like a few gingerbread arts, which is really cool. I was like, oh my god, hey. But, and I did see someone one time do like a Joker slash art that made me very happy, so that was really cool. So, yeah.
Wait, there was a Jesus art.
Oh, there was a Jesus art. Yeah,
Jesus art was amazing.
that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, he just keeps coming back from the dead over and over again. I always like to tell people I'm better than Jesus. I came back twice from the dead.
We keep having these theological discussions on the panels this weekend.
Oh boy.
It's starting early this
Wait for
time.
those lightning bolts to come down.
Ladies, each of you, I would imagine, have seen some cosplay of your characters as well. What's that experience like for you two?
Well, for me, it's so cute because usually it's younger kids, so
Yeah.
I love seeing that. It's a lot of like 5 to 10-year-olds. It's so adorable. I try to take photos with all of them because it's adorable. It's crazy though, like the fact that someone wants to cosplay my character. I would have never expected that. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a child cosplay Vicky. But I'm hoping there's time. It's wild. I feel really bad for them because they really make an effort to come to the table in full costume, but by the time they meet me, they're like, I have to take this off, specifically because of the eye. But it's really awesome. I haven't seen it really until after 3, so the iterations have been very creative because they just released the masks now. So a lot of people were making their own, masks or even prosthetics and trying to which is the Vicky prosthetic is like the hardest thing I think to try to cosplay. So.
How long is that process on set of getting into all of that?
I'm sure some people already heard this me complaining, but it's 6 to 8 hours. Yeah, and that's I would get pre-called, so my days were 20-hour days. But there was only 14 of them. David has had to be in prosthetic like
Yeah, you
hundreds
had
and
it
hundreds
much
of
worse.
times.
You had it much worse.
I think it's the one eye that makes it the most brutal, but worth it.
She even had a day where she had like an eyelash get in her other eye that was covered up the whole entire time. And she had to go the whole entire day with that eyelash in her eye.
Yeah, it happened a few times. That day my eye got very swollen.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil anything. So we've all seen all 3 Terrifiers. So when you mentioned swollen, it makes me think of probably the most brutal scene in Terrifier 3, second most brutal, third most brutal. It's hard to pick. Every scene is the most brutal. But can we talk about the rat? Rat scene. There's a few rat scenes, actually.
I know that scene.
But yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. I mean,
We love that scene.
What was that day like?
Well, the rats are cute. The rats are very cute. And they poop everywhere.
They didn't poop on you, they pooped on me.
Yeah. You scared the shit out of them. Yeah.
You had that one in the chamber.
Oh yeah, that's always ready to go. But yeah, they were cute. It was the puke part I didn't like. So.
They were puking.
No, they weren't.
Could you imagine the rats were just puking?
No, the rats were like
puking and shitting everywhere?
No, they actually, we had to keep resetting the skull, Jonathan's skull, because like, they would keep cleaning the skull the whole entire time. And it's like, because they put all this safe stuff for them on it, so that they're like, oh, this is delicious, because rats are actually very clean animals. People, they get such a bad rap. It's because of the plague, and what's up with the rats and fleas and everything. But they're constantly cleaning themselves, so they kept cleaning the skull, and it's like, oh wow, it's so pretty now. It's a shame you have to like dirty it up. Yeah.
No, they were very cute. They had little personalities, but they kept wanting me to shove them down it was a plastic tubing.
Yeah.
But rats
Like
are
a little habit trailer.
yeah. Rats are very intelligent though, so like if you let them go in, then they'll go in easily. But if you start to shove them, they'll think, oh, this feels unsafe, and they'll back out. But the problem is then they'll remember. So we would have to swap rats out. Like a lot. David's like, come on, we got it. You're like, oh, go in, like, you know, and I was just like, I can't keep shoving the rat. I don't want to hurt it. It's so cute.
That's what makes you gotta keep switching out the rats, because they're just like, no, I'm not doing this.
Oh, those rats made more than all of us in that one day. Yeah, on the set.
So was there a rat handler or multiple rat handlers?
Yes, they had a whole entire team there. So they're
That's a
They
pretty cool
had, they had
job.
more of a team for the rats than they did for our makeup.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Those rats were taken care of better than anybody else on that set, I swear.
Yeah, we had about six people. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no rats were harmed other than potential psychological harm.
Exactly.
No, just the humans on set were harmed. That was it.
I do have to say there was this one funny take we had of like the rats in the cage, because it was like, oh well, we can't use that take because the balls.
Oh yeah, they're
The
huge.
rat had huge balls, and they're just like right there through the two bars in the cage, like hello. It's like, yeah, we can't use this take. Oh no, that's all everybody's gonna be staring at.
Yeah, but imagine that being in your hand.
Yeah.
We can do anything in a Terrifier movie except rat balls.
Yeah.
We finally found the line. Everyone's always asking you, what's the line?
That was Willie. Willie's Willie.
Screamboat's Willie.
Yeah. But it was the puke that I couldn't stand in that scene.
That was it?
That was,
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, the puke.
That's it?
Yeah.
And the corn nuts?
No, that was you made it worse though. No, that's because I can take all the blood and the guts and all that. I can take poop. That's fine. Puke? No. I've always been like that. Just like no. And Damien knew that, and he's like, yeah, dude, you got to do this scene. I'm like, nah, can we send my stunt double or someone else to be in my arm here holding the tube? And then he's like, no, your face is in the shot. My face is not in the shot. and they were using this horrible smelling like thing of like cream of mushroom soup, and they put other stuff in it too. It just made it all gross. And I was like, God, and the house is really hot, and it just smells. And then like projectile vomited on this this tarp they had, and it's all. I was like, oh God. And then she comes down to make my life worse, and she's eating this horrible smelling bag of corn nuts. And it's just like,
Like normal corn nuts, but I guess it's
they
too
smell
much.
horrible. I can't stand corn nuts either. Those gross me out.
If anyone wants to meet David from corn
It's
nuts.
just the name of the food just sounds good. Corn nuts. It just sounds that. And she's just right up in my face. Hey, Dave. Why are you getting sick? I'm like, oh, go away, woman. But I did not
Very dramatic.
puke. I did not puke. I got close, but I was like, because I knew if I puked in that makeup, because it was like the first thing we're shooting in the day, and Heather, my makeup artist, had been spending so much time on makeup, so I knew she would kill me if she had to clean me up and reset everything. If I went with that everywhere, so I was like, okay, oh, bad day.
Which was worse, corn nuts or rat nuts?
Corn nuts. I didn't have to touch the rat nuts.
They didn't have a problem with the rat nuts. Damien did.
Yeah.
You're like, crucifixions, no problem, but puke,
Sweet.
yeah. There's a good I don't want to alarm Shredder, but there is a pretty sweet Master Splinter around here
love
somewhere.
it. Shredder, you fool! You met those turtles again! I'm a huge I can't talk. Ninja Turtle freak. I got so excited. I was like, oh my god, such a good Shredder.
Well, we got to talk.
Yeah, I could go all
I've interviewed all the original turtles.
I have not yet. I am friends with Rob Paulson online. And like,
Rob Paulson, I think he was the one who was also the voice of NBC for a while. Was that Rob
probably. Yeah.
Paulson?
He's been so many voices. That man's amazingly talented.
We're talking original turtle voice actors here.
Yeah, sorry. Terrifier.
So one thing before we open it up to questions that I want to talk about, we got into it a little bit before the screening, but just this idea that, opening weekend for Terrifier 3, to think about Art the Clown's beginnings, and then the Terrifier movies beginnings, and then all of a sudden here's this weekend where you have one of the biggest studios in the world putting out the sequel to a $1 billion film about a homicidal clown, and your movie about the homicidal clown smashes it in the box office. And it is the highest grossing unrated film ever. We clap that. And for each of you, what do you think it is about this franchise, this character? I mean, everyone says it now. It's like, we have another Freddy, we have another Michael, another Pinhead, someone else on the Mount Rushmore. And we have, and Ghostface was probably the last time we had one, and that was longer ago than we realized. To what do we, each of you, attribute just the massive phenomenon that this has become, to where it can go from being so obscure and so extreme to suddenly being so huge, yet just as extreme?
Well, for one, we didn't make it a courtroom drama musical, so. But I think it's because this is a franchise that's been made by real horror fans, especially Damien. I mean, the man's named after Damien from The Omen, literally. His mom went and found the movie poster so she could actually spell the name the correct way. And so he's a lifelong horror fan. He's got like an encyclopedic knowledge of horror movies, and so he just made the type of movies he wants to see again. And you can tell everybody that's been involved in these films loves the genre. And I think that's part of the magic sauce there is, you know, having fans being in charge of the genre and making what they want to see. And we haven't been beholden to like a studio system that's been coming in and telling us what to do and what not to, because it seems like the studio system this day and age is very risk averse. They're obeying the algorithms that tell them what they think people want to see.
Recognizable IP.
Exactly, and they don't, because movies now, it's not like back in the 70s and 80s when all those great slashers were being made. They you know, back then, movies were being made for just a handful of $1 million maybe. Now they're made for like hundreds of $1 million, and they don't want to take those risks anymore. Because it's like, yeah, you know, if you put hundreds of millions of dollars into a movie, you want to make sure it's a success, or you're losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And back then, you didn't worry about that, so you could take bigger risks and, you know, shoot for the moon and try new things. And that's with us. We didn't have hundreds of $1 millions. We made these for just I think Terrifier 3 was made for like $3 to $4 million. That's it.
I think it was $2 million.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm counting also like, you know, publicity and stuff like that afterwards. So it's like not a whole lot. And when you don't have to worry about that, you don't have to worry about the studio's over. You can do what you want to do. You can go that extra mile and go crazy with the kill scenes and just have fun with it. And if we want to add something there, we don't have to go to the studios and get their approval. Where it's like, you know, Damien's the creator, he's the producer, he does all. He's like, okay, let's do this, and we just experiment and have fun with it. So I think that's part of the secret sauce. And there's also you have a lot of great characters in these movies, not just Art. You have you know, of course, Vicky, you have Pale Girl, you have fun characters. You know, kick-ass Final Girl that's actually like kick-ass Final Girl. They're just like, it's like Sienna is such an awesome character. And these are characters, you know, audiences love to watch. And I think that's what it is. It's very, you know, fan-driven and character-driven.
Character-driven, yeah. I mean, it really does start with the writing, which is kind of a crazy thing to say about a movie that's so boring and has such extreme sequences, but it starts with the writing. And you have to care about the characters.
Yeah.
You want me to go? I mean, I couldn't have said it better than David. It's like the perfect storm of so many things in this conversation. We could talk for hours about all the things it's doing right. It starts from the top. Damien, he's like a 1 in a million. He does everything. And that's why we're able to do what we're able to do. He's writing it, he's producing it, he's doing all the special effects on 1 and 2, and he's not sleeping. He's got that belief that's just unshakable. And then David walks through the audition room, and that's a 1 in a million. Like it's Amelie, it's Lauren, it's all these artists, but then it's that belief, and then the conventions. Like, I've talked to so many people who've told me how, like, I always ask, like, how did you get into it? How did you find it? And these like little niche groups and word of mouth and even just coming to the table and be like, oh, that looks cool, like let's talk to these guys, no one's in line, like whatever, like all those years ago. And just, you know, you guys and David especially, like talking and chatting and talking horror and love, and that's 10 years of that, and that catches and it builds and it builds. And then there's the integrity of Damien, who had so many offers and was like, no, I'm not gonna take that wad of cash that you're giving me. I don't care if I have to go around and a bus to every state and premiere the film. Like, we're gonna do this the way that needs to be done. And that's because he's a lover of horror, but he's also an artist. And it really is a fan artist movie, and yeah, and it's really mind blowing. But it's all these things. It's the time that we're in. You know, there's so many things to but now it's exploded, and it's really, really fucking awesome. And I really believe no one deserves it better than the people at the top and the fans. You know, we're all very deserving and all very humbled by it all.
Yeah, it's definitely Damien. Like, he puts so much work and effort into it. The fact that he directs, he does the makeup, he does everything, and he wanted to keep it, you know, small and not like big corporate companies, you know, taking it over. And I think that's what makes it special. Is even from the beginning, like, it was small, and he put all this attention to detail into everything, and that's what really makes the movie special, because it's not like anything else, and you can tell that when you're watching it. There's just so much, just things that, Easter eggs, stuff like that it just makes it different.
And, you know, we were talking about it, harkening back to things that Damien grew up loving and that we all love in the genre. And one of the things that I love, you know, I think about like the Ramones, Pet Cemetery, and Dokken with Dream Warriors. Have we all seen the A Work of Art music video? I love that the Terrifier 3 has an official song that's like, you know what I mean? It's all, you know, there's synergy where, you know, the creative teams are actually involved, and Art the Clown, the real Art the Clown, is in the music video. What can you tell us about that experience, and what did you first hear about it? What was the pitch?
Oh my God. I am a child of the 80s. I grew up on MTV and all that, so I was watching music videos all the time growing up. And that's a few years ago, I was introduced to Ice Nine Kills in Spencer, and I saw this, you know, Welcome to Horrorwood, and it's hard to say. Horrorwood. The Roger. No, but catch that reference. But I was like, the production value that he puts into his music videos is like what you would see back in the 80s, like Michael Jackson and Weird Al and stuff like that. It's like, God, these are like little mini movies that he does. And I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, dude, we got to collaborate one day. Somehow, I want to be in one of your videos somehow. And he, of course, talked to Damien. He was like, hey, I would love to do like art in one of these videos. So that's what came about. And it was so much fun. I was like a kid in a candy store those 2 days I was on set. I was having so much fun because I never imagined I'd be in a music video like that in my life. And I was like, because I remember, you know, growing up with, you know, Freddy Krueger doing crazy stuff like that back in the day. It's like, I get to do what Freddy was doing back in the day. This is so cool.
Yeah, Freddie was in a video with the Fat Boys.
Yeah.
He was in a video with the Vinnie Vincent invasion.
Yeah.
He actually had a few of them.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was like, this is so sweet. This is awesome. So I had a lot of fun, and it was especially really cool because they had a lot of the fans there for the video.
Yeah.
They didn't even know that they were doing an Art the Clown video. And it was a big, huge surprise for everybody. So, you know, everybody's getting ready to start filming, and they're like, okay, now bring out our special guest. And I come walking on, and I was like, oh my God! So it was a lot of fun just being able to work with everybody. One of my favorite moments that happened though is like it's after I take out the chain gun and just gun everybody down in there, and everybody's lying on the ground, and they're having to do that for about an hour or so, just lying on the ground in that one position. And I'm like, oh God, you guys are gotta be cramping up right now. And we're in the middle of one take, and they say cut, and I just hear this one person just was knocked out, just dead to the world sleeping. I was like, that is fantastic. And of course I had to just go over to him, just stand right over him. And he just wakes up like, oh God! Hi. Yeah, that was fun.
Just give them a silent wave.
Oh yeah. No one wants to wake up that way.
How much fun was it for you doing my favorite part of that video is when Art is actually on the stage.
Yes.
As part of the band.
That was so much fun for me. It's just, especially the little miniature piano up there. I was having so much fun with that because I do play piano too, so I actually figured out the actual musical part that you hear on there. I was actually playing that for real on the piano and doing the bum, bum, bum. The funny
You didn't have to Marty McFly it.
No, I did not. No, I did that with the bass though, because I never. They gave me a quick lesson on how to play bass, but I was just slapping the bass.
You did have Chavo there on set.
Yeah, so that helped. That helped. That definitely helped. But like, it was funny because like Damien wasn't there for it, so our producer Phil was there, and so we had like two directors at the same time. We had the director for the video, then Phil's
Jensen,
yeah, Jensen, and then Phil's also trying to give me direction from Damien, even though Damien's not there. And Phil's Phil, and he's just like, Dave, you gotta be more sinister. I'm like, how the hell can I be sinister with Ray Charles glasses on my face, playing a miniature piano and playing a trumpet? He's like, you gotta be more sinister with it. I'm like, how? This is goofy. I mean,
Dead bodies help.
Yeah. But you know, it's like they edit all together. It looks really good. It was fun working with Catherine again too.
Yeah.
So you know,
Give up the cat.
That was funny. It was especially when I'm down there, you know, in the position when she's giving birth, and you know, because she's got legs akimbo and everything, and I'm like right down there, and I'm like, well, this is not actually a first time for us, is it? She's like, no, I'm kind of used to you being in this area. And I'm like, yeah, of all the people, yeah, this is okay. We're so comfortable with each other at this point, so it's like, yeah, here we are. Again.
One of my favorite tidbits about that video, and it really kind of makes the video in terms of the story, but apparently it was Damien who suggested that after all of the chaos and the aftermath and everyone's dead, that you should hear the baby crying.
Yeah, he's like, don't kill the baby. Yeah.
He's got a soft spot after all.
Oh yeah, on the head.
He has a soft spot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk about this at Silver Screen if any of you are coming to that, but I'll just, without spoiling anything, I'll just say Spencer had a very different idea for what should happen to the baby. And it was very complicated.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta just whip it around. David's saying, absolutely not. You can't do that to the baby. I throw the baby instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
The vocal board was going to get the ceiling fan, and it was...
I also got Jose. I had a fun time with him too because he was so excited.
Boy, Jose Megan.
Yeah, he was so excited about dying in this. I've never seen someone so excited about dying and getting covered in blood. And I'm like, oh, you're saying that now. You're saying that. He's like, oh, I can't wait. It's like, okay. So we did the first take with the blood all going down his face, and he's like, oh God. And I'm like, yep, sucks. It's in my eyes. I'm like, yep, sucks. It sucks. He's like, yep, it's not as fun. It's cool, but no. Yep. You can enjoy that shower later on. Everybody thinks the blood's gonna be awesome until it's finally on them. Like, oh no, this is kind of sticky and nasty.
I blame Billy in Scream because he's like, corn syrup.
Yeah.
It's not that delicious.
No.
So we have questions out there, I'm sure. You can just raise your hands. I saw your hand going first. You can tell us your name and where you're from, and then your question.
I'm Steph. I'm from Westland. I have a question for Dave.
Yes.
For those that don't know, you're a former teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be all right if you talk about your transition from teacher to actor?
Oh boy, yeah. I used to be in charge of children. That's the origin story of Mark. He's a former public school teacher. No child left behind. Really That's kind of what it was. I come from 4 generations of teachers, and I was there in the classroom, and I was not very happy. It was about a year after my mom passed away from cancer too, and so I was on a whole different journey in life because when I went back for my internship, in the month's time, my This is a year after my mom died, and my dog died, my grandmother died, a friend of mine committed suicide, and my sister married a homeless man who is now in jail for other stuff I don't want to get into details about. But so my whole brain was going, what the fuck? And I was not happy. I was very depressed. And I was making mistakes left and right in the classroom, and I was like, because my head was just not in the game. And I remember like my final conversation I had with my mom right before she passed away. She was like, you know, I have a lot of regrets with my life. There's a lot of things I didn't do in my life, and I don't want you to have those same regrets one day. And she's like, you have a lot of gifts that a lot of other people don't have, and you know, I don't want to tell you what to do with your life, but you know, you have your gifts. Don't do what you think you have to do with your life. Do what you want to do with your life. Live your life. And that was just always in the back of my brain. And I was in my classroom one day doing story time, and I was doing all the different voices for all the characters in the book. And the kids were laughing and having fun. And I'm like, they didn't want to go on to anything else. They were just like, oh, I'm sorry, we got to go on to math now. Like, no, more stories. And I realized at that moment, I was like, this is what I need to be doing. I'm getting more fulfillment out of actually entertaining my students than actually teaching them. And this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. And so I called my dad up that night, and I'm like, Dad, because my dad's a NASA engineer, very pragmatic, straightforward man, just very logical. And I expected this whole entire argument that I was going to have with him. Like, no, you put all this time and effort, and you need to do this because this is a stable career path and all that. And I had a whole speech prepared, and I'm like, Dad, I want to do this. And he's like, good. I'm like, what? He's like, no, I have a speech. And he's like, no, your mother and I always thought you should be an actor, but we didn't want to tell you what to do with your life. We wanted you to find your own path. But I'm glad you finally figured it out, and just finish up your degree so you have something to fall back on. But go and do it. And my father was always 100% behind me on everything I did. You know, he's always supported me, and I'm very grateful for that, because I know there's so many actors out there that do not get that support from their parents. They're usually opposed to them going into this field because it's a very uncertain field to go into. The likelihood of actually being a success in it is very slim. And you know, your parents want their children to succeed. They want the best for them, and he was always very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. And I had my dad came to visit me out in LA earlier this year, and I got to show him around. It was just the two of us, as my stepmother thankfully stayed home. And it was the first time in like maybe 20 years it was just the two of us, and I got to take him all over LA. Everywhere we would go, people would recognize me in public, which surprised me. But it was so cool to have those moments with my dad, and people were just oh my gosh! And I was like, Dad, this is real. He's just, you know, you could just tell the smile on his face that he was just so thrilled for all this, and it's all because, you know, he was so supportive of me all those years. So it's like, I'm always happy to see when I have children coming up to the tables, or you know, they're sharing their artwork, they're sharing other things that they've been doing talent-wise, and I'm always happy to see parents that are supporting their children in their endeavors that way. So because that means the world. You have no idea, unless you've experienced it yourself, how much that truly means to a child to have that kind of support from a parent and what they're doing with their life. So it's all you parents out there supporting your children with what they love, keep doing it, because you never know where it's going to lead them one day.
How that also carries on into adulthood, you know, that support and feeling like your parents are proud of you. It matters just as much as it did.
It does.
You know, it does. The next question, this man in the art hat. Your name and where you're from?
Oh gosh, of course Robert would be so much fun to work with. But like, I hear he's, I've met him like a little bit. I haven't really been able to sit down and have a real conversation with him yet, and I would really love to do that. But I think there's so much I could learn from him. Of course, Doug Jones. I love Doug. He's like one of my mentors in so many ways. And I would love to actually work with him, because I know I could learn so much from him as well. So yeah.
Let's go somewhere in the back. Oh, wait, back.
What was your, my name's Ariel, I'm from Flat Rock, Michigan. What was your favorite moment to film in the Terrifier movies? It's for all of you.
Nothing in 3. We had fun. I really loved grossing David out. I loved to torture him. Oh, God. Just from all of them? I thought masturbation was going to be super easy. Let me tell you, David was my eyeline.
That was awkward.
I was staring at David the whole time. And David actually looked away in disgust at one moment. Which
Yeah,
did
I was
not
just
help my
trying not
acting.
to look. I was just like, okay. This
Yeah, I was crying underneath my mask.
I feel like it was awkward even for Art, let alone for David.
Yeah.
You know who was awkward for? Damien. Damien actually told me this the other day. He was like, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, then why did you write it? That's actually my favorite scene that I'm in, which sounds weird, but it's the whole scene with John Abrahams and David. But I always take it back to one. I think one was a pure time for all of them. I'll say for me, but for me, it was just like less than 10 of us. We had so much time on our hands. It was cold, but it was just like David and I really for most of it, and then it would take hours to set up a shot. So we'd be screwing around. You know, he was riding around the bicycle. We'd be filming videos. It was just we had no idea what we were in for. Like it was just so that was very magical. I think that I always kind of go back to in my memory.
I would say the possum scene's my favorite. It was the first one that I filmed, so I hadn't met anyone. I was really nervous, and I met David, and so we just like sat down in the hallway and started playing around with the possum.
Yeah.
So I was like bonding with him, getting to know him,
Yeah.
like digging in the possum.
That was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun, and it was like crazy because like it was like a mixture of like gelatin and the blood, fake blood,
Yeah.
and it was like it tasted weird. It was like just such a fun scene to film. There was a lot that got cut out
A
of
whole
us
lot
just like
that was
messing
good.
around.
Yeah, we did a whole comedy routine with that thing. I was doing a puppet show with it. Because you see one bit where I have a stick, and at one point I'm like playing like it's a dog, and I was trying to do tricks with it, like that shit is not going anywhere. They're like, oh, play dead. I'm like, shh. Awesome, play dead.
Yeah, that was my favorite, probably just because it was also the first one that I filmed. So.
And you went right into it. I was like, I was prepared to like help direct her and stuff like that, give her some ideas, but I didn't have to say anything. She just totally went along with everything I was doing. It was like I'm not used to that because I used to do Skits and Drama Club when I was a camp counselor, and I was so used to having to give direction to the children, and I didn't have to do that at all with her. She was just a natural with all that. So that was fun. That was fun. Mine was probably the whole entire bar scene in That was just a scene. As soon as I read it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. It's like Damien knows to write some scenes like that for me, where I just get to play and mess around with people. I love those type of scenes. But especially for that scene, because it was Clint Howard and Daniel Roebuck and Bradley Stryker. Like these guys I've seen in movies and TV shows my whole entire life, and basically Damien just turned us loose that week. He's just like, okay, here's the script, but do something with it, and we just played. It was just magic. That whole entire week was just magic for us. I mean, Clint Howard, my God, that man was cracking me up with all those little one-liners. So I have it for me. Like, I was like, this is all him just coming up with these funny little things he's saying. I'm like, this is amazing. And Danny is, I'm like, he's a veteran stage actor as well, and he's
at River's Edge. I don't know if there's any River's Edge
he's
fans.
so good. He's so good, and he's like. He's someone that knows comedy very well, and he knows how to he knows how to be funny, but he also knows how to be a great straight man. And because when you have like comedy duos, is you have to have the straight man, and you have to have the comedic relief. Like Abbott Costello, Martin and Lewis, all that kind of. And he knew how to because the straight man's there to throw the joke to the funny guy. And Danny, like the whole entire torture scene, that was just Danny making stuff up. And he was just throwing so much good material at me just to play off of. And that was just so much fun. It was, I actually, the last day of filming, going back to the hotel, I started tearing up a little bit in the car because I was just so happy with what we had been filming that week and just the people I got to work with. It was just, it's pure magic. It was like, this is why I do what I do. This is what I love to do. And I was like, this is it. This is fun. This is just fun.
Love that. Ricky?
Steve Head from Terrifier. Obviously, art makes no sound. Is that all just you, or is it like fixed in post? Like, say you accidentally like hit it in like the stomach. Is that fixed in post, or is that all just you?
It's pretty much me trying to be silent. I try my best to, but sometimes some sounds squeak out of me. It's like, with exertion, sometimes it just happens where I'm like, something like that, just getting up, because now I'm getting older. I'm like, oh, gotta get up. And it's also something I found is hard to do, is like when you're getting hit, you naturally want to make a little sound or something like that, and you can't do that. So I try my best not to make sounds. It's in between takes that I'm making all the sounds and stuff like that. So, but there's sometimes sounds do squeak out of me, sometimes unintentionally, especially a fart here or there. It happened in part 2, especially the most notorious one of that is when I was doing the club behind my head and coming down on Kaylee, and one time I was running back and I looked back, whoopsie! And I was hoping no one heard it, and I just hear everybody in Video Village just cracking up. And Kaylee's down on the floor just cackling, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry it was the beef tips I had earlier. It's Phil's beef tips.
It is such a physical performance, which I think is the beauty of it. You've talked before, of course, about like Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and a lot of those influences. And as you were talking about the bar scene in 3, it got me thinking, how much of that physicality of Art's performance is on the page versus how much you're inventing on the day? I mean, I would imagine
It's basically, he gives me the bare bones of what's happening. It's just like, okay, Art sits in the lap and then Art pees or something like that. But how I do it is all up to me. Yeah, and a lot of that just happens in the moment. I usually don't prepare a lot of that until I'm right there and I see what I'm working with. And so there's certain things I have to work out for myself beat-wise. So I know, okay, if I do a certain gesture here, then because I have to figure out the timing of everything.
Yeah. Whose idea was these snow angels in the mud?
That was Damien. That was the very last minute. That was the very last thing I filmed for Terrifier 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, because it was driving us crazy the whole entire time. Ever since he wrote the script, it's like because every kill that Art does, there's always some kind of wink and nudge to the audience afterwards. A little playful gesture. There's a joke.
Like Art washing the plate?
Yeah. There's always something. There's always something, and we just didn't have anything for that, and it was driving us nuts. And I had, at the last minute, I had come up with a different thing to do with body parts that were in the room and stuff like that. And Damien's like, that's great, maybe we can use that in part 4 or something like that. But I'm like, I just thought of what we can do. And he's like, let's do the Blood Angel. I'm like, oh my God, how did we not think of that? Yeah, it's like, this is perfect. And so that was, we did that in one take. I was so happy doing it too. And I was like, I don't know if he knows, but I'm also flicking everybody off when I'm doing it. I was like, hey. And I don't even think Damien realized I was doing that until afterwards. He's like, wait a minute, did you flick everyone? I'm like, yes, I did. Yeah, and that was the imprint it made on the ground too. Where we had to very carefully pull me up and left that imprint there on the ground. It worked out so well.
More questions. How about Rick?
Question for David. My name is Andrew from Louisville, Michigan. So I know that the bar scene was your favorite individual scene, but as a whole, what was your most fun movie to film out of 3?
Oh, part 3. Part 3. I mean, I got to have a chainsaw sword fight. I'm like, this is awesome. I got to use a freeze gun. got to almost puke. Yeah, plus, I also excited because I got to work with Sam again in this one because we had so much fun in, part one, being the whole cat and mouse game between the two of us. But this one, we got to actually be, partners in crime, and I was very excited about that. That was going to be a lot of fun.
The most twisted Bonnie and Clyde ever.
Yeah.
Let's go to you, sir. Yeah.
My name is Martin, and I'm from Belleville. I just want to say, David, my experience is a little different. I started off as an actor, and now I'm finishing up 30 years of teaching English and running a theater department in a high school.
Ooh, bless you.
But my thing was, you were talking about what was different, what made Terrifier such a great, and I've been into horror movies my entire life, which is long. The fact that the victims are sympathetic and that you're rooting for Sienna and not, and that actually started off a new thing because now all the horror movies coming out have a strong female lead that you're actually rooting for, and when they fail, you feel badly. And I think what really helps, our art is such a vile, hateful character, which you do through pantomime, and I love Buster Keaton too, and I love The Silence. But what I want to know, because I think the acting, and again, from all of you under all that makeup, when are we gonna start seeing you all with your real faces at some point in movies? Well, I mean, I know we've seen yours, but with the makeup on it, just I can tell that you're such good actors. It would be interesting.
We did get to see Robert Englund in Trey's Dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would hope so one of these days you actually see my actual face, but I think my real face is scarier. It's like, especially now I'm getting older, things are starting to sag, I'm like,
You could cameo as someone that Art kills.
yeah, I could, that would be funny. Who knows, but I would love to, I would love to get back into comedy again too, so who knows.
Yeah, I'd love to show up as myself too, but I'd love to play Little Pale Girl as well.
Oh,
There's things
yeah.
about both. I like both, so yeah.
Do you mean in the franchise?
Oh no, I mean in general.
Oh, in
like
general.
doing other movies, like horror movies, maybe once Terrifier. You have a break between Terrifiers.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I would definitely love to do a horror again. I wasn't really, I didn't start in horror, and Terrifier was like my, I got thrown into the deep end, and I really fallen in love with it. I think it's a lot of fun. I do hope we have, maybe some heat in most locations on the next few sets, but yeah, no, hopefully.
Maybe a 4th of July theme next time.
And maybe he'll be like, what is it? What's the Lotus? What's the?
Yeah, White Lotus.
Yeah, we'll go to an island somewhere.
Yeah.
He'll terrorize the
Goes away.
locals. But yeah, hopefully, yeah, that would be, it would be beautiful to have,
All right, get
cleared.
That was the original Beetlejuice sequel.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, it's
Beetlejuice. All right, we have time for a few more. Let's go all the way back to Detroit.
So, my name is Bretta Chase. I'm from Dubuque, Iowa. My question is for you guys when, or if you guys have any time, when is the 4th one coming out? You guys started making it yet? And your date set? And I'm ready for the 4th one.
Thank you.
I want to meet your sister from the first one.
Jenna Cannell.
Yeah, was she ever going to come with you guys ever on this tour next year, or maybe a year after? I want to meet her too with Sienna. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a convention with Jenna and Catherine in Nashville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
full moon,
We are, yeah.
Shout out again to Catherine and to Jen.
They're amazing. They're really talented.
Jenna's so talented in so many different things
Yeah.
that she does in different mediums.
I guess I'll go first because David could probably, and you guys probably have more answers than me. Damien is so tight-lipped about this. I'd always get a little bit, after we film or right before we get excited, have an idea, and he has not said anything before. Nothing.
I'm curious about number 4. If you guys
Yeah, I just know he's writing it right now.
Yeah, we just know he's writing it. I imagine they're gonna try to get it out October of 26, because obviously he's writing it now. But we shall see.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like I said, like I'm used to him collaborating with me and like I'm running ideas by me while he's writing, and he's been zoop on this. All he's told me recently was like, "Oh, you're gonna love the opening."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Ooh."
Yeah, he's like, I've got great ideas. I'm like, great,
Yeah,
what
it's
are
like
they?
great, but it's down. He's like, no. It's like I want to surprise you. He's really excited about surprising us. So, but he has told me this is basically part 2 on steroids. So it's like, oh my god.
10 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like Lawrence of Arabia.
I think we have time for one more. This young lady right here.
So, obviously, art.
What's your name and where you're from?
Oh, my name's Melina. I'm from Jackson, Michigan. Obviously, art is on the So, out of all the movies,
Favorite kill.
Favorite kill? You want to go first?
My favorite scene where, of course, someone dies is Chrissy Fox in the opening of 3. I think that's like the greatest setup, and she's phenomenal. The whole cast of that's phenomenal. But I just feel like you don't really see as much as you normally would in a Terrifier film, and yet I'm so on the edge of my seat. And just everything, every moment, every little nod, filmic nod, and cinematic nod, is just absolutely perfect. So that's one of my favorite sequences. It's my favorite kills, because her screams brutal, absolutely brutal.
Chrissy Fox stars in a, I don't know if any of you saw the launch of Pretty Evil. It's a new cosmetics brand with Spencer and Schneider. Chrissy stars as a medical examiner in this short.
If you ever get to meet Chrissy Fox, she's awesome.
Really
She's
awesome.
as awesome as she is in the movie.
Her daughter Elle is awesome
Oh,
too.
yeah.
It's like,
I liked the club scene in the bathroom with Brooke. I think it's a very underrated one.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. Myself, I love the Santa Claus death. I just love that. That was, like I said, I had so much fun filming that with Danny, but I'm like, I think that's such a fun kill scene because it's very over the top and almost cartoonish in a lot of ways. I kind of felt like a Batman villain in that one too. It's like, but we were even going to take it further, but we literally ran out of time on that because I was going to make him into like a full snowman. So it wasn't just the carrot in the nose. I was going to take 2 things of coal out, light him on fire, and shove them into his eyes. And I was so upset we didn't get to. I was like, man, we were just down to the wire. We just couldn't. We almost didn't even have time for the carrot. But like, we have to at least do the carrot in the nose. But I was like, I love this though.
What's great about that kill too is the foreshadowing of it earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh,
Oh yeah.
we're gonna see this again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's fun. It's like, but that's hard to choose all those because there's so many great kills. Of course, Allie's kill in part 2 is just like, it's an award-winning kill now, which is great. We won the Chainsaw Award for that. So we'll see. You know, it's like keep. If y'all voting again for Chainsaw Awards, vote for us.
You better get a chainsaw award for the chainsaw fight.
Yes, that was awesome. Oh my gosh. I also have to give a like tiny tip of the hat to our stunt doubles for that. Like Bobby that did my stunts, he was just fantastic at that. I still got to do a lot of that fight myself, but there was no way I was picking up Lauren and body slamming her like that. I didn't even know they were gonna do that until he did it. I'm like, oh shit! He like yeeted her. The first time she went so high up, she kicked the ceiling. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. So that was fun. I was like a big kid on set those few days doing that fight scene because it's like I get to fight someone with a chainsaw. This is amazing. And he was the one that got grabbed in the nard, so I was like, you go in for that one. you go do that. I'll just do the reaction, but you go in.
Well, Astronomicon 8, give it up for the villains.